Mr. Gatekeeper here. Here we have another really neat build. What I'm about to show you is actually a present, a birthday present. One of my customers contacted me and wanted to get a GK 1200 straight 12 pill built for his son for a birthday present. Kind of birthday slash Christmas present in a sense. And this was back kind of around my peak of really not 100% knowing exactly how much work I had truly took in. It'd be different if it wasn't custom work. If it was just, regular 2-pill, 4-pill type work, but I had took in a little bit too much custom work. So, as time went on, I offered to do a little extra for him to make up for it. So that's what I went ahead and did. I went ahead and decided to paint the board blue, and went ahead and decided to go a little bit further and give this guy a free candy paint beautiful blue job on the amp, which is not cheap. This House of Color candy paint is not cheap at all, especially when you have to buy low quantities of it and not large quantities of it. You have to forgive me if the camera's shaking a little bit. I have had nothing to eat today except about 2 cups of coffee. So I decided to go out a little bit, kind of make it up to the fella, because he was wanting, goodness, my hands are shaking. There we go. He was kind of wanting it a lot quicker than I was able to give it to him. So whenever something like that happens, I like to try to go out of my way to make it an extra special build. But of course, you got to keep in mind, it don't matter how good an amplifier looks. If it don't work worth a hoot, it's of no use. Like I tell people at times, it's like having a Ferrari sitting in your front yard, but you got a 4-cylinder motor in it, or a Ferrari sitting in your front yard with no motor. It looks great, but it's of no use. Before I go any further, I do have to give a major shout out to Mr. Danny123 out of the Chicago area. Reason being, he used to do these line of amplifiers where he would paint the boards black. I've seen quite a few photos of those builds, and boy, they are pretty, I will tell you. And he is the first person I had ever seen building these type of amplifiers that would paint his boards. And that kind of does two things. One, it looks great. Another is you'll never have to worry about that board and that copper oxidizing as time goes on. And the good thing about this particular paint that I used right here, you can get in here and wipe it down with a rag and keep it looking brand new. As time goes on, you can just kind of get in here and wipe it down and keep it looking good. And if you think about it, in the world of electronics, all boards are painted. So he was the first person I had seen do that, and I think this may be my 3rd board I have painted. And I always like to give credit where credit's due when I get an idea from someone else and do it myself. Now, if I had painted this board or the other boards in particular amplifiers in the past, and the idea completely hatched from my own cranium, then I would have no reason to give Mr. Danny 123 a shot out, but that's not true. You see, I'm a man that ain't gonna sit here and act like I have an idea when an idea had come from somewhere else. Because, man, it's a dog-eat-dog world. You know, it's the beautiful world that we live in. We get ideas off each other because we're all born from different, you know, areas of the earth, and we all come from our own angle. We all, you know, think from our own angle. And the creativity, one man can't hold all the creativity. So, you know, it's kind of neat to look at other ideas and designs, and there's nothing wrong with using an idea that you got somewhere else. And I'm a firm believer, if you do, to give that credit where credit's due. I want to give a major shout out to my hound boy, Mr. Tech 9, doing this thing. I was fortunate enough to get a special compact disc. I think it's a DVD. I believe it's a DVD or maybe a regular disc of the majority of the builds that Mr. Tech 9 has done in the last, I don't know, 8 to 10 years maybe. And boy, he is, that's what I'm saying, different people coming from their own angle. Tech 9 runs off a old school design, more of a TNT style design, and he knows how to work that design very well, like the back of his hand. And I love to see him put things together from the ground up. So shout out to you, Tech 9. Mad blessings to you out that way, my man. Alright, so anyway, so we just pretty much have your simple, straightforward 12 pill, 3 4-fill sections, HGs, okay, done in the old Dave made style, splitting and combining. I like to call it the LC circuits, and everything turned out really well. Alright, the only negative downfall on my end over here is from being pretty much playing catch up for the last year and a half. I have not had much time to improve my working environment over here. Meaning, bigger power supply, regulated power supply, bigger dummy load. I am still, it's embarrassing, but hey, I ain't gonna sit here and act like somebody that I'm not. I am still working off of a Cantana. Okay, now this 12 pill is big enough to fry that Cantana. How do I know? Because I've already fried 2 of them. And guess what? Those 2 were fried by a 12 pill and a 16 pill. You wouldn't think that still you would fry a Cantana with just that small of an amplifier, but it can. And it has over here. So, I mean, it is what it is. I'm going to get me a bird dummy load here soon. That's on the priority list. And another thing is, with these being HGs, they are sensitive to high voltage. Okay, so I'm going to be keying this on an unregulated supply, but I'm not going to stay on it long. I'm just pretty much going to key to show you what the box is doing. You know, I want to keep this as safe as possible. If I had a regulated supply over here, I'd key this joker down and hold it down and trash talk on it. What I am going to do, because I got to give a break-in to all brand new builds. I can't just sit there and build the box and, you know, show that it's working and send it off. I've got to at least break it in, give a good warm-in test. You know, I'm going to key this up to this battery bank that you see down here and give it a decent burn in, as they say. I just usually burn in on a dummy load. Some people, they'll take it out there on the air and shoot some skip with it and everything. I usually just burn it in on a dummy load. Just act like I'm talking to people. I just want to burn it into a perfect load. I do have an antenna up out here, but that's just my preference. So anyway, another thing is I don't have a big driver handy at the moment. So yeah, I got quite a few things I need to upgrade, because I'm going to be building a lot bigger amps than this here very soon. A lot bigger output amps than this with way less devices coming up here very soon. So I'm going to need to upgrade this stuff anyway. So all I have to do is to run two 1446s, which is definitely nowhere near what this box can handle. So we're going to be driving pretty much 100 watts into this box. Okay, so keep that in mind. It definitely can handle a lot more power than what I'm about to be driving it with. But you know, I've got to drive it with something just to let you see what it's doing, let you know that it's working great, and all that good stuff. There's the back of the box. After we get done doing this, I'll get the driver unhooked, all that, get the top put on, and let you take a look at it with the top on. It is a absolute breathtaking, stunning amplifier look-wise. It is a beautiful amplifier. It turned out absolutely beautiful. Running with a painted board like this probably takes at least twice to 3 times longer to actually build the amp. Because why? You have to scratch everywhere you're going to solder it, and that takes a lot longer. It definitely does. Yes, it looks very very clean with a painted board, but it takes a lot more time to do all that. So anyway, just kind of getting a few angles of it. The way I look at it, I wouldn't be able to do none of this without God. And I ain't afraid to say it. I personally believe I'd be dead without God. So I definitely give #1 shout outs to the big God, the big man that sits on the circle of the universe. Because I wouldn't be able to do none of this without him having somewhat of a halfway of a decent brain to be able to put these things together. Alright. Alright. Let's go ahead and turn the power supply on. I think that scared old Boots over here, my cat. She was sitting up here above me. Alright, this is going to be dropping to about 14 point something volts. I have to look over and glance over and see. Like I said, I'm going to be driving right there about 100 watts, about 100 bird. Okay, I'm going to be driving at about 100 bird. Bless you. Bless you, sweet thing. Bless you. You be careful, baby. Come on. Get over here. I might step on you while I'm doing all this. Move out of the way. Alright. And the input reflect is right there about 1.5 watts, which is very low, which is very good. Alright, make sure everything's on here. I'm using a new camera too, so please forgive me. Still trying to get used to this, because I have to hold the camera with my right hand and key with my left, which I am ambidextrous, but it's just new to me. Alright, I got the 2500 watt slug in. Okay, we'll just take a look at it on RMS first. Oh, right there at 1,000 bird. Alright, let's take a look at the PEP. Like I said, I'm not really wanting to stay on the key real long. I mean, I understand it's dropping to 14.5, but you got that little drop from the floating voltage down. I'm just not going to trust it. These HGs are great transistors, but they are sensitive to higher voltage, unlike the Toshibas. Alright, so here's your PEP. So that's off the scale. I'm doing over 2,500 watts, which is very good. I will have to repeat, very, very good for just driving a pair of 1446s into this box. Wow. This box can, if I had my D-rail radio, which I will here soon, D-rail's getting some upgrades done to it for me. If I have my D-rail radio to drive into the 1446 box, I think it makes it do, I think 140, 150. but it would probably be doing at least 1,300 probably. Just need more drive. This box can do over $2,000 if you want it to, but do you want the box to last? If you want the box to last, don't be driving the piss out of it. Because this bad boy could do up to 2,200 watts if you wanted it to, but it's best, especially running HGs, just to drive it reasonably. You know, honestly, if this was my box, I probably would just run it like that right there. I just hit it with two 1446s, just let it roll. I mean, that's just me. I mean, it's already doing over 2,500 watts PEP. I mean, 3 kW out of a 12 pill is reasonable. Let's see. I'm gonna key it one last time just to see what the voltage is dropping to. Ooh. See if I can't zoom in on the voltmeter right there. Go. I done turned the box off. Go. 14.7. Okay, that's good. That's good operating voltage. So yeah, a little bit bigger of a driver. Be right there a little bit at the 3 kW point, but me personally, I like to look at the RMS of it. It's only doing, you really, if you think about it, it's doing 1,000 bird with 100 watts. So 100 watts, that's what, 10 to 1? I don't know how you equal that up in dB range right off the top of my head, but driving right there about 100 bird into it. Like I said, it's doing about 1.5 watts. Like if I keyed it up right now and showed you the input reflect, it would not be the input reflect of the box. That's another thing that I need to do, is I got a line section actually that's on the way, so that I can just screw in a line section right here in between the input of the box and the driver, so I can show you the input reflect when I do bigger boxes like this. But I did check it out earlier just to be safe, and it's right there at 1.5 watts, which is great. That's great for a 12 pill like this. I've even seen people, you know, be acceptable up to 2-3 watts input reflect on a 12 pill. That's very, very decent. What you look at is the amount of power you're driving into it. So I'm driving 100 bird into it, which comes out about 250, 280 watts peak, and it's got only 1.5 watts coming back. That's really good, actually. Get on down, baby. Get on down. I'll tell you what, she literally just hangs out here with me all day long while I'm out here on the bench. Oh, I'll get up here and just give a different view here of it. It really is a beautiful build. And I will be back to get the top put on it and show it to you after that. I know this fella will really enjoy this build. You'll be keying a decent maul, Class C maul, and doing it in style. Mr. Gatekeeper, another Gatekeeper candy painted build out there in the world of sound. And of course, you know I can't leave without giving my painter a shout out, Mr. Marty. Without him, these things wouldn't look good as they do on the exterior. But don't forget, don't matter how good the amp looks. It's all about how it works on the inside. I'll be back, y'all. Alrighty, here she is with the top on, all screwed down. Boy, this thing is absolutely beautiful. Very beautiful. That's why I call it that beautiful blue. Box is a little big just to fit on this little table right here. Try not to run this box no more than 15 volts at the maximum. Nominal 14.5 and below. 15 max, nominal 14.5 or below. I got the fans protected for 15 and below. Some pretty decent airflow. The only thing I didn't show, because I already had it done, was the only thing I dislike about these particular cases right here is the heat sink doesn't cover the whole board. Okay, so the heat sink may come from, for example, here to about here, for example. Okay, well, you've got this much space right here and that much space over there that air is just going to flow through the box and flow out, being wasted, not even flowing through the fins of the heat sink. So what I went ahead and did on the front, which I wouldn't, like I said, wasn't able to show, I got some pictures of it, but I went ahead and blocked off right there at the front on that left and right using some copper board, so that that air is only forced through that heat sink only. There's no way that air can get out these portholes unless it's coming through that heat sink. Now, with saying that, you still got this big space back here, so it may not feel like there's a whole lot of air being pushed out the back, and that's because when it's released through the heat sink, it does have this big area right here to kind of even out and flow through. Now, if the heat sink went from here on out, I would just have covered up this fan hole, but the heat sink goes from back right here. And instead of going all that trouble covering that, it ain't gonna hurt nothing at all. It's just that if you put your hand back here, it won't feel like the air is flowing as fast as if I, walled it off back here to equal up with the heat sink, which doesn't matter back here. Where it matters is up here, so that we don't have no air wasted. So all the air coming out the back is only flowing through the heat sink's fins. That's just how these CBS packs come. Yes, sir. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this, take it in the house. I'll show another video just so you can see the front of it and everything. I got some overkill hefty single aught cable for your ground. Went ahead and put your lug on there, and I went ahead and stiffen this right here up with a little bit of solder just in case you want to put an Anderson or something like that on. This right here is a little thick. You don't really need it this thick, but I went ahead and it's about all I had. It was either doing this right here or getting 3 black 8 gauges and putting them together. And this 8 gauge right here is a lot thicker than normal 8 gauge you'll find. That's why I went with this company called New Concepts, KNUKONCEPTZ.com. And maybe one of these days I can get sponsored by them. What you think? Wouldn't that be cool? All right, I'll be back. Alrighty, well here she is. You can, see it a little bit better. It's on that little table in there. So just let you take a gander at the front. Nothing too special since it's a straight 12 high drive. So you don't have no variable or nothing like that. Just a simple on and off switch. Sideband wasn't requested. There ain't never be reason to be running this on sideband anyway. It's a Class C model, no doubt about it. In 1 second here, and I'll turn it around. Let's take a look at the back. Alright, there's the back. There is the remote port. You think by now I've done got some labels for the remote ports. That's just something I still have never done. I need to get around to doing that. And this right here is a 1/2 inch bolt, which will carry all that current, no problem at all. And you can easily tighten it down just with your hand, but if you want to, you can take a pair of pliers and really grip down on it, but that thing will tighten that ground up no problem. Alright, man. Hope you enjoy this, bud. I honestly don't know how much longer I'll be doing transistor boxes like this. If everything goes according to plan, I will be doing 50 volt only, and hopefully getting into some 110 volt, 220 volt, thousands of volt AC, if I can find me a good teacher to get the old gatekeeper acquainted in the old AC realm. I've been wanting to build tube boxes for a while. And anybody in this field, if you put your mind to it and put the work in, you will learn how to do it. It just takes time, patience, work, and a lot of times knowing the right people to get you places quicker. 73s and God bless. The GK. From inside the old Ponza Rosa. I'm good and gone. Bye-bye.